Chapter 274, Heaven Do Army. TL by Bagelson. The Heaven Do Empire's regent Shui Bang's appearance instantly drew everyone's attention. Just while a host of spirit masters were paying him their respects, he suddenly took off his golden helmet and bowed to Tang San, respectfully calling him teacher. In fact, in this army of millions, Shui Bang as emperor bowing to Tang San in front of so many people shocked everyone, leaving them dumbstruck. No matter if they were spirit masters who knew Tang San or not, they couldn't help instantly re-evaluating this youth. Tang San bowed at the same time as Shui Bang paid his respects. He of course wouldn't bow to Shui Bang, but rather to Grandmaster right next to him. He also addressed him as a teacher. The scene seemed a bit strange. Only those who knew Tang San well understood what was going on. Your Majesty, don't be so courteous. After Tang San saluted Grandmaster, he turned to the side, more or less accepting Shui Bang's half bow, simultaneously stepping forward to help him up. Tang San clearly saw an excited expression in Shui Bang's eyes. Teacher for a day, a father for life. Teacher, this is only appropriate. Shui Bang tightly gripped Tang San's hand, speaking respectfully. Tang San smiled slightly. Your Majesty is now the ruler of a nation, and the commander of these millions of soldiers. You definitely can't go on like this. Shui Bang laughed out loud. Teacher, I really didn't expect you to catch up in time. It seems even heaven is helping my Heaven Do. Tang San said. I don't understand leading troops in battle, but since Tang San has come, I will definitely devote my full strength to help share your Majesty's burdens. Shui Bang nodded to Tang San, then turned his gaze to the surrounding crowds, suddenly loudly declaring, Heaven Do Empire's subordinates hear my command. Long live your Majesty. Instantly, a storm of voices rose in answer. Whether spirit masters or soldiers and generals, all fell to one knee. The only ones who didn't were Tang San and Grandmaster, who were entitled not to. Shui Bang's eyes shone, projecting a graceful royal presence. Today, my teacher, Tang Sect Master King Lanhao, Tang San, has returned. Hereafter, teacher's orders are like my commands. Where teacher goes, so is my presence. Yes. Long live your Majesty, long live King Lanhao. Hearing the shouts of millions of heroes, even someone as steadfast as Tang San couldn't help but feel his blood boil. His impassioned voice reverberated in the sky. Heaven, Do, certain, victory. This rallying cry was filled with incomparably tyrannical mental power, and at the same time Tang San raised the sea god trident. Along with the sea god's light pouring into it, a ray of deeply golden light shot up. Even in daytime, every soldier could clearly see that divine pillar of golden light. Heaven, Do, certain, victory. This rallying cry was filled with incomparably tyrannical mental power, and at the same time Tang San raised the sea god trident. Along with the sea god's light pouring into it, a ray of deeply golden light shot up. Even in daytime, every soldier could clearly see that divine pillar of golden light. Heaven, Do, certain, victory. Roars resounded in every corner of the army, the voices traveling several dozen li before fading. The army's vigor instantly rose to an unprecedented level. Shui Bang stared shocked at that golden trident in Tang San's hand that gave evening thoughts of submission, and couldn't help exclaiming in admiration. Besides gratitude, his respect for Tang San was even more due to the Tang Sect's importance for the entire Heaven Do Empire. He also knew Tang San was a genius, but he was after all a genius of the young generation. In his impression, he still wasn't a true power, but Tang San's shout had still provoked a reply from millions of soldiers, and the aura he exposed for an instant shocked even Shui Bang who had met a lot of powers. Vaguely, he already sensed that Tang San's power absolutely wasn't inferior to those old spirit masters. Teacher, thank you, Shui Bang said sincerely. Tang San smiled calmly. It's not too late for your Majesty to thank me once I've helped your Majesty sweep the spirit empire flat. Right now he was no longer the Tang San from before. With the backing of formidable strength, Tang San's words held an intense confidence. Shui Bang smiled. Teacher, how about being my vice commander? Tang San shook his head. Your Majesty, I don't understand army battles. I think I'd better help you block the enemy's strongest spirit master. I'll help lead the Tang army. Once we encounter the spirit empire's spirit master legions, leave it to me and teacher to confront them. We'll keep them from interfering with the main battlefield as much as possible. Little San. Grandmaster frowned, looking at Tang San. The Spirit Empire's Spirit Master legions were so powerful that, even if Tang San was the imperial tutor, Grandmaster felt that his promise was a bit inappropriate. After all, if he couldn't achieve what he promised, it would mean major losses to the entire army. That was unpardonable for anyone. Shui Bang glanced at Grandmaster, then looked at Tang San again, speaking in a low voice. Teacher, this time I'm personally commanding the army with the mindset that broken day is better than undamaged brick. When facing whole Spirit Master legions, if we can fight then fight, and if we can't, we still have the army for support. Tang San said. Your Majesty, I calculated the Spirit Empire's strength on the way here. According to all kinds of indicators in the past, the total sum of the Spirit Empire's Spirit Masters should be 60 to 70,000. You could say it's 10 times ours, but they can at most mobilize 50,000. After all, the strength of Spirit Masters below rank 30 is basically useless on the battlefield, and that's already stretching it. They will need to leave at least 5,000 Spirit Masters as reserve, and 5,000 to guard their most important cities. The Spirit Masters they can actually throw against us in the Star Luo Imperial Army should number around 40,000. Your Majesty mobilizing the entire nation like this should be after discussing it well with Star Luo. The Star Luo Empire's strength isn't less than ours, and they're bound to form a pincer attack from the south. So, the Spirit Empire's Spirit Master legions should halve again, leaving around 20,000 to face us. Of course, even so, they have 3 or 4 times our numbers in Spirit Masters, still an overwhelming advantage. Listening to Tang San's analysis, Shui Bang nodded repeatedly, expressing his agreement. Tang San continued. At present, Grandmaster should be leading around 4,000 of our 6,000 Spirit Masters, plus 2,300 of our Tang Sect. Adding the Tang army equipped with Tang Sect hidden weapons, I'm confident in at least blocking the frontal attack of Spirit Hall's 20,000 Spirit Masters. Grandmaster said. Little San, I've also calculated the difference in strength between both sides. You're right, if the enemy's 20,000 Spirit Masters are all ordinary Spirit Masters, we do have the ability to stop them. But don't forget that Spirit Hall's powers are numerous, and Baby Dong is deep and unmeasurable. There's also one exceptional duo with rank 99 strength that might appear on the battlefield. You should understand the destructive power of such a heaven-defying power in war. Moreover, the Spirit Empire has a total of maybe 20 title duo. Right now all we have is Poison duo, Sword duo, Bone duo, and even adding in mine, Flender and Erlon's Spirit Fusion ability, that's still only equivalent to 4 title duo, facing at least 10 title duo, and possibly even exceptional duo. If the enemy's peak level powers enter our Spirit Master camp, the circumstances will change immediately. At the same time, Spirit Hall has prepared for years. Their Spirit duo and Spirit Sage level powers are at least 10 times ours. Did you include those? This was a war of life and death. Even though Grandmaster hadn't seen Tang San for 5 years and had missed him deeply, no matter how overjoyed he was at seeing him again, he immediately recounted his own thoughts when he heard Tang San's somewhat cavalier promise. After Tang San muttered to himself for a moment, a very faint blue light enveloped him, Grandmaster as well as Shui Bang, isolating their voices from the outside world. Then he spoke briefly. Grandmaster's doubtful expression was completely obliterated, and Shui Bang also showed an expression of sudden revelation. Shui Bang returned to the army, accompanied by a crowd of guards, but Grandmaster still stayed behind. He wasn't following Shui Bang every moment, and spent even more time here commanding the Spirit Master army. Before anyone came over to disturb them, Grandmaster spoke to Tang San in a low voice. Little San, you're really sure? Tang San said. As long as Baby Dong and that exceptional duo Chen Dalyu don't come at me together, I'm certain of blocking 20,000 Spirit Empire Spirit Masters. There's something else I didn't tell you. I'm just back from the Clear Sky School, and the Clear Sky School has already decided to return to the continent. Naturally they'll join our Heaven Do Empire faction. To tell the truth, this time the Empire has set out in force, but the rear is a bit hollow. I had the Speedhole disciples deliver a letter to the Clear Sky School, telling Uncle to leave 5 title duo and most sect disciples stationed in Heaven Do City, and then send 2 title duo to lead 100 elites to support us. My father might be one of the 2. These reinforcements will undoubtedly relieve the gap in Spirit Sage and high-level Spirit Masters between us and the Spirit Empire. I didn't mention it to Shui Bang just now to hold back a trump card, otherwise I wouldn't say I was so certain. Grandmaster said relieved. Then it's good. Only, just what you said just now already raised Shui Bang's confidence. This battle. Actually, he sent troops against his will, compelled by the circumstances. Tang San nodded. That's why I must strengthen his confidence. As the ruler of a nation, the commander-in-chief of the army, if even he doesn't have confidence in victory, how will we have any chance in battle? Also, I wasn't exaggerating. A Shrek 7 Devils really is enough to equal 7 title duelo. This was what Tang San told Grandmaster and Shui Bang before. On the battlefield, the Shrek 7 Devils was enough to equal 7 title duelo. Thus, the Heaven Do Empire side possessed the equivalent of more than 10 title duelo level powers. Grandmaster gave a soft sigh. Little San, you have to remember that I'm more unwilling to see you in any danger than I am hoping to destroy the Spirit Empire. True, with Rongrong's spirit power reaching rank 80, she's become the 7 Treasure Glaze Tile School's strongest support type Spirit Master, and arguably also the world's #1 support Spirit Master. With her there, you all really get into the title duelo realm, but she alone can't support the 6 of you for too long. Compared to 7 true title duelo, there's still a gap. You have to keep this in mind. The battlefield isn't a competition. With one mistake there is danger to your life. Your lives are most important. Teacher, I. Just as Tang San was preparing to tell Grandmaster that he had already become a true title duelo, he was interrupted. Little freak, you came back. Ha 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 ha. With clear and bright laughter, Poison Dulo Dugu Bo crawled out of some unknown corner, coming up to Grandmaster and Tang San, just in time to make Tang San swallow his words. Dugu Bo still seemed hale and hearty. The 5 years hadn't left any marks on him. He also walked up and gave Tang San a huge bear hug, regardless of Grandmaster standing right there. Old freak, you're still as always. A bit softer, a bit softer. Sensing Dugu Bo's unconstrained emotions, Tang San couldn't help feeling a burst of warmth, forcefully returning the hug. Seeing Dugu Bo come over, the Tang Sect 4 Hole Masters as well as the other Shrek 7 Devils also all gathered, asking about Tang San's experiences over these 5 years. Daimobai and the others who returned first hadn't said anything about their trip to Sea God Island, only stating that they cultivated painstakingly for 5 years, making their strength increase substantially. Tang San had warned them to do so. After all, it was best not to circulate the mysteries of the Sea God Island too widely. Surrounded by the crowd, Tang San simply recounted the trip to Sea God Island, but spoke even more about the Sea Spirit Masters and the panicked events on the sea. As for Xiao Wu's resurrection, he was even less talkative. This related to his and Xiao Wu's secrets, and even though these people were all trustworthy, Tang San still didn't talk about it to avoid touching on Xiao Wu's sadness. Only, he didn't hide the events of the Clear Sky School, explaining them. At the same time he also comforted the 4 elders, telling them what he told Tai Nuo. Tai Tan sighed. It's all 20 years in the past. Even if a lot happened to us because of the Clear Sky School, we also gained a lot of benefits from them. Let the past be the past. As long as Sect Master doesn't merge us with the Clear Sky School, fighting alongside is nothing. Tang San looked at Yang Woody whose hatred for the Clear Sky School was the deepest, but who knew that Yang Woody's gaze was always fixed on Tang San's Sea God Trident, seemingly not paying attention to what was said about the Clear Sky School. Now he laughed. Sect Master, no need to mind the old mountain goat. In the past 5 years when we've all been able to live together, he doesn't even know how happy he's been. All the past is already in the past, even though he feels conflicted about it. The old orangutan is right. As long as we don't return to the Clear Sky School, let the past lie. Dealing with Spirit Hall is important. We old fellows can clearly tell the difference between trivialities and important stuff. Tang San laughed out loud. Many thanks for all the elders' magnanimity. I haven't been back for 5 years. Elder Titan, what are the circumstances of our Tang Sect, and what are the circumstances of the Tang Army? I'll trouble you to introduce me. Before Titan could open his mouth, Yang Woody interrupted. Sect Master, where is this trident from? How come I feel my heartbeat in alarm when looking at it? Even my spirit power becomes unstable. The soul-breaking spear even gives me a feeling like it doesn't want me to release it. That's quite normal. Even my 7 kill sword was suppressed until it couldn't breathe by this trident. Sword Dulo had disappeared just after Tang San reached the army. Now that he had returned, Bone Dulo Durong as well as 7 Treasure Glaze Tile School Master Ning Fengji had returned with him. Ning Fengji clearly looked a bit older. The hair at his temples already grizzled. These past 5 years clearly hadn't been easy on him. Uncle Ning. Tang San swiftly stepped forward to bow in greeting. Even if he was already the master of a sect, he would still never forget how Ning Fengji helped him back then. Ning Fengji smiled slightly, immediately bowing in return. Sect Master Tang, don't be like this. Speaking of, the growth speed of you youngsters has shocked me. Only, as you grow up, we will also grow old. The future Dulo continent is the world of you youngsters. Tang San smiled calmly. Uncle Ning is still in your prime. How could you be old? Ning Fengji laughed out loud. Fine, let's not mention it. Just now I heard Uncle Chen Shin say you had a weapon even the 7 kill sword couldn't compare to. So I also got quite interested. Could you give everyone an introduction? The people who could stand in the circle around him were all trustworthy comrades or elders, so Tang San had no intention of hiding it. He stabbed the Sea God Trident into the ground. Sea God Trident. Sea God Trident, weighs 108,000 jin. A simple explanation, but it made everyone feel the sky collapse. 108,000 jin, what kind of idea was that? Sword Dulo's eyes revealed a pensive mood. No wonder, no wonder. Congratulations, Sect Master Tang. This divine object will certainly be a sharp weapon in the fight against Spirit Hall. Ning Fengji also nodded to Tang San. Sect Master Tang, after this war is over, I will have to request people from you. Little A you can steal, but you still have to return our Rongrong. I will have her replace me. Daddy. Rongrong cried out, leaping in front of her father. You're still in the prime of your life. How come you have to leave your position to me? Ning Fengji rubbed his daughter's head, his eyes brimming with pride. Laughing, he said, because, only by replacing Daddy can our 7 Treasure Glaze Tile School become the 9 Treasure Glaze Tile School. The Sect Master position belongs to those capable. You've already surpassed Daddy. Daddy believes that, under your leadership, our 7 Treasure Glaze Tile School will definitely reforge our glory. Tang San nodded. Uncle Ning, that's only natural. Rongrong has always been of the 7 Treasure Glaze Tile School. Ning Fengji said, the army will resume marching. I have to return. Little San, the key to this war will be your Tang Sect. Uncle believes that you will definitely give the Spirit Empire a huge surprise. Ning Fengji brought the 2 title Dulo away, and the others also returned to their posts. When the army resumed marching, Tang San brought the Shrek 7 Devils after the 4 Tang Sect Hall Masters to the Tang Army's position in the Million-Man Army. The Tang Army was on the left side of Shui Bang's central army, forming an army by itself. Their equipment was different from the other legions. When Tang San saw the equipment of the common Tang Army soldiers, he also couldn't help sighing that the Heaven Do Empire had disregarded all production costs for this special force. The Tang Army soldiers didn't wear metal armor, but rather leather. This leather armor wasn't the light protection guarding just the vital areas of the body, but rather rhinoceros leather armor, protecting the whole body. It was even more expensive than full metal armor. Not only was its defense very powerful, it was also very light and didn't influence movement. All Tang Army soldiers were young warrior between age 20 and 30. Each carried a 2 chi long and 1 chi wide godly Juga crossbow on their backs. Tang San saw at a glance that these crossbows were only made from refined iron, and not iron essence. His original doubts were instantly explained. He originally couldn't understand how the Tang Sect could create 10,000 godly Juga crossbows in a short 5 years. Now it seemed the answer had provided itself. The size and weight increased cost, but lowered the demands on the crossbow materials. Besides the large crossbows, each Tang Army soldier was also equipped with a 4 chi long refined iron war saber, and all over their leather armor hung characteristic leather bags holding at least 120 crossbow bolts, each 6 kan or so long. Even though these crossbow bolts weren't fully made from iron essence either, the arrowheads all were. Through quick calculations, Tang San discovered that the large edition godly Juga crossbow shouldn't have lost much in power. It was even more suitable to equipping an army. Each Tang Army soldier was provided with a large horse with head high. The value of their equipment wouldn't be less than that of the heavy cavalry, and that was still when disregarding the godly Juga crossbow. This showed how the Heaven Do Imperial family was filled with expectations for this special force. The 4 whole masters came up to Tang San. Titan spoke. This Tang Army was founded 3 years ago, when His Majesty Shui Bang ascended the throne. Made up of elite warriors selected from within the army, after 3 years of training their combat strength is already quite formidable, enough to use on the battlefield. Their training was conducted privately in absolute secrecy. Each person carries the godly Juga crossbow, as well as 160 crossbow bolts. Besides the 40 inside the godly Juga crossbow, the remaining 120 is carried on their person. The godly Juga crossbow they're currently carrying is my improved design. Sect Master should have seen that sacrificing size and weight, we can reduce the manufacturing difficulty and material demands without giving up power. For special use in the army, it's absolutely no problem. Tang San nodded. Besides these 10,000, how many people are currently equipped with our Tang Sect hidden weapons? Titan said. Our initial production first went to supplying the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School. Of course, we supplied them with all the best quality hidden weapons, and also full sets, only for the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School's directly related disciples. After that was our own Tang sect. This time, altogether 2,300 Tang sect Spirit Masters have set out. Among them the Speed Hall, Medicine Hall and Defense Hall disciples all have 200. The remainder are lately joined young Spirit Masters. The Strength Hall disciples were left in the sect to continue producing hidden weapons. There's also 500 elderly and children left in the sect. Right now the sect altogether consists of around 3,000 people. The sect disciples along here are all equipped with full sets of hidden weapons, just like the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School. At the same time there are also 300 with godly Juga crossbows with special bolts. They are mainly focused on armor-breaking arrows and thunder, flame arrows. Their attack power is at least 50% higher than ordinary godly Juga crossbows. Tang San said. What's the average level of our Spirit Masters here? Tai Tan said. Around rank 40 on average. They are after all mostly youths, but they're also all trained by Grandmaster. Their fighting strength is considerable. As for the disciples of our 3 halls, they're a bit stronger. Among them the Speed Hall disciples are equipped with the most hidden weapons. Listening to Titan's simple introduction, Tang San had a rough understanding of the Tang army circumstances. At this time, the army resumed marching again, and the Tang army soldiers mounted one after another. They moved orderly and nimbly, and even though there was no killing intent, that spear sharp aura showed in every action. In these 5 years, the Tang sect had grown swiftly, not only in terms of number, with the direct backing of the Heaven Do Imperial family, they had summoned large numbers of blacksmiths to assist the Tang sect in producing hidden weapons. Of course, the crucial components were still manufactured by the Tang sect's disciples themselves, while some components were distributed for these outside blacksmiths to make, substantially speeding up the entire manufacturing process. Otherwise, there would have been no way to equip an army like this. All the resources were fully supplied by the Heaven Do Imperial family, without costing the Tang sect a penny. Moreover, they had been allocated funds before even producing anything. After these 5 years, the Tang sect's accumulated wealth was already quite something, even comparable to the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School of the past. Only, before the return of the Shrek 7 Devils, the full Spirit Master strength of the Tang sect was still insufficient, especially in terms of powers. Otherwise, the Tang sect's overall strength wouldn't be inferior to the 3 upper sects back then. Although Tang San also knew that the Heaven Do Empire gave their full support in order to deal with Spirit Hall, he still couldn't help but admire Xu Beng and the late Emperor Shui Yi. The army marched on, stopping every couple of hours for a brief rest. In one day, the millions of heroes covered a full 200 li. At such a pace, they would reach the common border of the Heaven Do Empire and Spirit Empire in 5 or 6 days. At nightfall, the army made camp. While camped, the army was arranged differently from when on the move. In the military camp, the infantry was on the outside, with cavalry inside and the Imperial Guard in the center. Supply wagons and provisions was also in the center of the army. An unending stream of supply wagons was constantly passing through, and the entire camp was bustling. After a full day of march, they could finally rest. Cooking details lit fires for food, while ordinary soldiers raised tents to rest. The Tang army didn't need to make their own camp. A specialized supply force came up to make it for them. Their position was also at the center of the million-man army, close to the big tent guarded by the Imperial Guard. When camp was just made, a messenger came down from the big tent in the center of the army. His Majesty invites His Highness King Lan how to discuss business in the central army. Fine, I'll go right away. This was still the first time Tang San participated in a military conference. He didn't bring anyone, alone following the messenger into the army center. The big tent in the middle of the army wasn't lavish. The boiled cowhide tent looked thick and solid, surrounded by a steel forest of weapons, protected by the Imperial Guard. After following the messenger inside, Tang San discovered that there were actually more than 100 people already inside. Shui Beng sat in the elevated main seat, the position on his left empty, Grandmaster sitting to his right. Next were more than 10 grave-looking generals seated. The others all stood below. Seeing Tang San arrive, Shui Beng stood hurriedly, personally going to meet him. The crowd of generals all looked somewhat curiously at this young Imperial tutor, especially when they saw Tang San bringing a trident inside. Shui Beng showed no offense, and he couldn't help secretly praise him. Teacher, you came. Please sit. Shui Beng pulled Tang San inside, having him take the seat to his left. In fact, Tang San's current position was below only his, above countless others. Tang San lowered his voice. Your Majesty, I don't understand military affairs. Don't mind me. Official business is urgent. Shui Beng nodded, gallantly returning to the main seat. His gaze swept the crowd below, and the large tent instantly grew quiet. The 100 or more military officials deferential. Our army has 10,000 men to a legion. You are all legion commanders. At present our army is already less than 5 days travel from the Spirit Empire. The war is imminent. Gathering all generals here today is in order to concretize the battle plan. We don't need to mention the importance of this battle to the Empire. We hope all generals can work with one heart. After we have won this battle and returned, we will provide rewards according to achievements, conferring titles accordingly. Your Majesty, long live, long live, long live. Reporting to Your Majesty. At present everything is normal in the army. Advanced scouts report that the Spirit Empire has already responded, gathering their army before Jolling Pass. 1. A 50-year-old general to Tang San's right stood and gave a report. While speaking, his gaze swept Tang San, his expression somewhat apathetic. Clearly he wasn't particularly concerned with this youngster who could sit above him. Shui Beng said to Tang San, this is the Empire's killer, Marshal Ji Long. 2. Titled the 9 Lives Divine Dragon. He is also number 1 in the Empire, chief commander of the 3 armies. 3. Listening to Shui Beng's introduction, Tang San understood. No wonder this old commander wasn't too taken with him. He was the number 1 person in the Heaven Do Empire military. Even if he wasn't above him and Grandmaster in noble ranking, in terms of actual authority he might be second only to Shui Beng. From Shui Beng's expression as he looked at him, it was clear that this new emperor relied heavily on this Marshal Ji Long. It was also no wonder this marshal was dissatisfied with having to sit below him. Judging by his presence, he should be a spirit dueler level power. Ji Long wore Heaven Do silver armor, embracing a 3-tined helmet. A Spirit Master was in the prime of his life in his 50s, and to have reached the Spirit Dueler level at such an age was quite remarkable. After all, how many geniuses like Tang San and the others could there be? Your Majesty, according to our analysis as well as estimations regarding those traders, even if the Spirit Empire gathers the 10 kingdoms and duchies, they can at most field 600,000 soldiers. This should be their limit in wartime, and with our army and the Staluo Imperial army attacking from north and south, they can only send around 300,000 troops against us, not even a third of our numbers. The terrain before Jolling Pass is flat, and even though the Spirit Empire sees the field ahead of time, they absolutely can't stand up to us in battle. They will definitely retreat to Jolling Pass, defending from a natural stronghold. As long as they summon their Spirit Master legions, even with a million heroes, breaking through their defenses will be difficult beyond difficult. Jolling Pass is in the center of the Heaven Spirit Mountain range, a key military point. One man can hold off 10,000 there. If we want to make any contributions in this war, we must break through the pass. Shui Beng pondered. If we were to detour around the Heaven Spirit Mountains and come at them from another direction, Ji Long frowned. I have also considered this option, but the feasibility is very low. First, disregarding how many more days the army would have to march. In order to have a chance to go around, we would have to enter the hinterlands of the Spirit Empire. The terrain there consists mainly of hills, valleys and basins. It's extremely unfavorable for our army. It's on the contrary even more dangerous. Moreover, there's also the chance for enemy troops to block our escape route. Behind Jolling Pass is a long narrow plain, leading deep into the territory of the Balak Kingdom, directly to the root of the problem. Consequently, this subject believes that breaking Jolling Pass is imperative. Only by attacking from there can we achieve the greatest benefits. Entering to attack or guarding our retreat, as necessary. 1. Jolling Pass, Auspicious Mountain Pass. 2. Ji Long, Spear Dragon. 3. 3 armies, left, right, and center.